Calvin, we're going to be chatting all about your smash blessings coming up. We're going to get to know you a little better coming up and ask you a question that you have possibly never been asked before. Calvin Harris, welcome to America's Dance 30 for the first time.
Hello there. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I know you are beyond insane and don't do a lot of interviews, so I greatly appreciate your time.
Hey, it's nice to be here.
Now, do you want me calling you Calvin or do you want me calling you Adam?
I think probably to avoid confusion, Calvin makes more sense.
Yep, absolutely. I just wanted to make sure because I read somewhere that you didn't necessarily like to be called Calvin, so I just wanted to check.
Well, not like by my wife or my mom, but for professional reasons, it just makes more sense, doesn't it? I mean, it can get confusing otherwise.
So what you're saying is we're not BFFs yet?
Maybe after the interview, we'll see how it goes, and then
no pressure.
We'll do a debrief.
Well, congratulations on the incredible success of Blessings with Clementine Douglas.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, I love it. I love this track. Probably my favorite thing I've done in a while.
Well, I can't wait to talk about how this smash was born coming up. But first, since this is your first time on America's Dance 30, let's get to know Calvin Harris a little better with Finky's Firsts.
Yep.
Now, I also know you've been doing this a long time, so I apologize in advance if you've been asked these questions 1,000 times.
Go for it. I'm ready.
Now, I always love finding out the origin story of artists. I read that you actually fell in love with dance music when you were in your teens. But when you were growing up, was music the first thing that you wanted to get into, or was there something else you wanted to be when you grew up?
I don't remember anything else that I wanted to be or do. I didn't really know music was a job, though, to be honest with you. I was one of those people that didn't really have a skill set in anything or any kind of talent. So all I knew for sure was that I really liked music and I liked listening to it. But until I was maybe 14 or 15, I had no clue that I could maybe pursue that as a job sort of thing.
Well, thank God it worked out for you.
For me, yeah. Thank God for me.
Now, thinking back to the beginning, when you were trying to decide on an artist project name, was Calvin Harris your first choice, or were there other names you were considering?
I had many names. I had one that was Stufa, which was named after a cartoon cat, actually a puppet cat on a comedy show over in the UK. I also had Jimmy Bones, which I think lives in the same sort of world as Calvin Harris, but it just there were a few. Those are the two that I can remember off the top of my head. But for every kind of, because I was experimenting with styles of music and all different kinds of things. For every different style, I'd do a sort of different name, try and get a record deal, and that eventually this one just sort of stuck. Even though the music evolved and I just felt like the name was it rolled off the tongue well, better than my real name. So I stuck with it. You know,
I can't foresee the future, but I don't think you would have had a career if you did go with Stoofers or whatever that was.
I would reluctantly agree. I think a name is very important.
And where did Calvin Harris actually come from?
So one of my favorite producers at the time was Andre Harris, and he'd made a Glenn Lewis album. This is like soul music. And Calvin, I have like 20 Calvin and Hobbes books. You know those cartoons?
Absolutely.
And that name all kind of always just kind of resonated with me as a fun name, as just I don't know. It made me feel good to be maybe called that and sort of embody that kid.
Well, it's an iconic name, so I'm glad you came up with it.
Thanks.
Now, besides Blessings with Clementine Douglas, you've got some iconic songs. If I mentioned them all, we would be here until 2026. But, one of my favorites...
Let's do it. Let's mention them all.
All right. Let's see. Flashback, which is still one of my favorites, and I think one of your most underrated songs. There's Iron. I'm trying to think of like the distant. Exactly. I'm trying to think of the distant ones.
Okay.
Bounce. Yeah.
We're going from least popular to most popular.
Yeah, but just because they're the least popular, it doesn't mean they're not my favorites. Those are iconics.
I love them all.
Do you remember the first dance song that made you fall in love with EDM?
Ooh, actually, let me think about that. Because I was sort of getting CD singles of. In Europe, in the UK, there were a lot of novelty dance songs in the sort of mid to late 90s, and I enjoyed them a lot. But I wouldn't say that it was a life-changing thing, you know. But there was the most obvious one is Stardust Music Sounds Better With You, which I heard on holiday within the UK to see my gran when I was 14. It was 1998, and it was being absolutely rinsed on the radio. And I just heard it everywhere I went. And, you know, this was back in the day where radio stations would play songs before they came out. So I remember waiting for this song to come out, and it was so magical. Nobody really knew who it was, and there was no video, and there was no real kind of, the artwork was just black with sort of gold writing. It was all just very mysterious. And I remember when I found out it was the lad from Daft Punk and Alan Braxe, I thought, oh, cool, you can just call yourself a different name and make a song and then bounce on the next one. And I liked the sort of anonymity aspect of it as well. I like the mystery as well as the music, which was obviously unreal. So I think that's what kind of got my brain ticking in terms of how to present something as well as how to make a song.
And it's still a classic. I mean, they just used it for the July 4th celebration. It still sounds so
really?
good. Yeah, it still sounds so good.
Well, no, I mean, unbelievable. Yeah, it's just one of them. It's the production quality is so high. It's just going to be around forever, I think.
Absolutely. Now, as you mentioned, you're in Ibiza right now. You've been performing all over the world. But do you remember the first time you ever performed for a crowd?
Oh, yeah. I used to perform with a band. I used to sing all the songs. My first 2 albums, I sang all the songs until I'd exhausted that particular avenue. But yeah, so my first show in front of people, I certainly wasn't DJing. I was singing. It was pretty big for a first gig. It was like a 500 cap venue in Scotland called King Tut's Wawa Hut, and it's in Glasgow. And I was when I say I was nervous, I decided I was going to wear all these colorful hoodies. We're talking 2006, 2007. So this is very much electro clash era. And I decided my thing was going to be wearing this hoodie. And in this venue, there was no air conditioning. I was wearing this thick wool, multicolored thing. And I was sweating. I was trying to sing. I didn't engage with the crowd once. I was so, it must have been awful to watch, man. I was just like there just trying to get through this gig. But yeah, no, I remember that pretty clearly. But it went well. I mean, I didn't make any mistakes, but God, it was terrifying. That's when I knew my days were numbered as far as singing in front of a crowd went. Now,
when you're performing and you put in one of your songs that you are singing, do you ever sing live with them?
No. I sing along like the crowd sings along, but I don't sing along down the mic. The thing I like about recorded music is that it's absolutely perfect. I kind of like that aspect of it as far as my particular voice goes. I want to be able to do 500 takes and pick the best one. And I reserve the right to do that. So that's what I do with me.
Well, I'll tell you, you sound perfect on the songs that you sing on. So please keep doing it, even if it takes you 500 takes.
Well, I can tell you, thank you, but it was a lot of work.
I bet. Now, complete side note, you're going to be performing at a festival coming up called Rise Festival. Literally, when I was walking into the building today, one of the girls that I work with, Stephanie, mentioned that she's going to be seeing you. Have you ever done that festival before?
No. In fact, I'd not heard of it. It looks absolutely incredible.
Yeah, where they
It looks
released
kind
the
of like,
Chinese lanterns.
yeah, yeah. It sort of looks like it's not real. I had a few messages after the announcement saying, "Is this an AI festival, or are you really doing this?" I said, "No, it seems like it's definitely legit. Like it looks really amazing." So yeah, I'm doing that soon. I'm excited. I've never done anything quite like that before.
Yeah, that should definitely be amazing. Well, finally, in Finky's verse, in honor of the incredible success of Blessings, if I mentioned what's the first thing you feel blessed for, what would come to mind?
Oh, I just feel like I'm super blessed to be still being able to make music, and this being a kind of thing that I can do on a daily basis. You know, before I was talking to you, I'm doing this, working on this extended mix of my next song. It's just fun. I just like doing this stuff, and that's the first thing that comes to my mind right now, because I was just doing that and having a good time, you know. And then all the things that come along with that, you know, the travel and the meeting so many different people, getting to work with so many different people, being exposed to different cultures, I think is really important, and really just kind of enriching.
Well, speaking of your music, let's talk about this smash. How was Blessings born with Clementine Douglas?
So I was here this time last year, and I was kind of messing around with musical ideas, and I had one, and it was just sitting on my computer. And then I kind of went back to London. I got all these guitars. I went through a Grateful Dead obsession, and I started buying all their favorite guitars that they like the all the different ones. And then I started making loads of guitar things. And then once I'd learned how to make these guitars sound really good, I thought, well, I should put it to actual good use, like on a good song, and instead of what I was making. And I had this riff. I thought, right, cool, I'm going to replay it on this guitar and see how it sounds. And it sounded absolutely unreal. For a while, I actually tried to make my voice work on this track, and it was not working. And then Clementine, who I didn't know at all, had never met, but two of her songs I was like, I really love. I think she's got an amazing sort of expression in her voice and style of singing that's very unique. And I thought, oh well, this could work, you know, with this riff. I feel like the riff is the thing, but I need a excellent vocal, like an interesting vocal to support it. And literally, I sent it over to her. Reached out. She luckily got back to me. I sent it over to her within. I didn't know she was a producer as well, right? I just thought she was a singer, just a singer, an amazing singer. But she'd sent back two different songs, all clean vocal with effects, EQ'd, mixed, the whole thing. I dropped the thing onto the track and it was done. And that is so, I don't know if it's like the new generation of people that work like that now, or if she's literally a genius unicorn.
She's definitely a unicorn.
I can say hand on heart, of all the people that I've worked with a lot of people. That was the most, I felt guilty. It was so easy that it sounded so good. Like usually to make a vocal sound good, for me anyway, it's like a real journey. But from getting the raw file to getting something that actually sounds, you know, good on the track. But she's got it down. She's got the mic change. She's got the mic. She knows she sounds good. I guess the way in which she sings it, she knows. She just knows, and that's it. And so that was really unbelievable. And then the track was done.
Yeah, it kind of blows my mind on two facets of it. One, that you guys had never worked together before, and two, how amazing she is. When I found out how many songs she's behind, it is so incredible.
Yeah, she's been on an amazing run. She's had some really, really incredible songs, which are really driven by her as well. It's not just she's singing someone else's song. Like this is her. It's her song, and you know, the production's worked up or whatever. But that again, I think is unusual, and should be talked about because that's a proper it's a proper talent.
Absolutely. Now, something I love to find out about songs is how many different versions there are of a song from when you start working on it, all the tweaking that goes on to when you finally put it out mastered. Do you remember what the final V was of Blessings?
Yeah, it took me absolutely ages. There were two distinct versions, and there was one which was sort of messy, but probably would have sounded better live. And there was one which I went in like a surgeon and made sure everything was like hi-hats were so tight and crispy, and clap was, it was just, you know, it sounded good on a phone, sounded good on a Mac, sounded good on a bad phone, bad headphones, good headphones, bad car, good car, radio, live. Live was actually my last thought in that process. You know, it sounded good on streaming, sounded good if you bought it on Beatport. So that's what, but usually, I mean, it sounds obvious, but usually I don't really do that. Usually I kind of get something that sounds good in studio, or I test it on, you know, something in my car or something like that. I'm like, yeah, it's good. Not that I'm lazy, but if I like it, it must be good, right?
Right.
But this time, wrong. This time I thought, yeah, I'm gonna make sure this is foolproof, you know, and it's gonna work on everything. And to be honest, that's how I used to work, and maybe I got a little bit lazy over the last 5 years, let's say, and now I'm back on it. So I'm grateful for that. Sometimes you need a little push just to get back to, all right, let's really make sure this sounds really, really good. Yeah.
Well, it does sound really, really good. Now, as you mentioned, you tried singing on it and you sing on your songs. How do you decide what's going to be a song better suited for Calvin Harris or better suited to be sung by somebody else?
I try and sing on everything, and then when it doesn't work, I move on. That's simple as that. I always try, because I mean, definitely how I used to do it when I would be writing lyrics as well, even for other people. I would try me on it. And then if I thought, oh no, this suits a female voice much better, which to be honest, 9 times out of 10 it does, I'll go down that road and try and write it. So that's just a process that I go through. And then usually sometimes an interesting sort of melody will come out of it, or an interesting idea. And even if I don't use it on that song, I can use it on something else. So that's just kind of the thing. But yeah, with this one, I tried a load of stuff and it wasn't working. So I thought, right, pivot to someone who can sing. Immediately.
Well, congratulations on it. The incredible success of Blessings. It is such a smash. Before I let you go, I asked ChatGPT to give me a question that Calvin Harris has never been asked before. So I got to test this out, all right?
Yeah.
Now, if you had to trade your entire discog for the ability to speak to animals, which animal would you speak to first?
Now, do you mean speak English to animals? Because I think animals are quite intuitive in the, like, I've got chickens, right? And I honestly think I can communicate with them and they communicate with me. We're not necessarily speaking, I mean, they're certainly not speaking
the same language.
English. They're certainly not speaking English. But I do know what they're saying. With that being said, and I feel the same way about dogs. Maybe not so much with the smaller animals. Maybe not so much with the cats. The cats, I mean, you get an idea of what a cat's about, but the dog, very obvious. The chicken, very obvious to me. I've not spent enough time with your cows and your horses. So I think maybe I would pick. But would I trade my entire discography to speak about a cow? Is the real question. And I don't think that I would. So what I'm doing here, Brian, is I'm going through the animals that I feel like I would want to speak to.
That it would be worth giving up.
And then on from that, would I then trade the discography? And honestly, I can't think of one that I want to hear from to that degree of desperation, I suppose. I think the animals that I'm around, I feel like I've got a fairly good sort of understanding of what they're about. So I suppose the answer is no.
See, I'm a proud cat dad, and there's been a lot lately about how ChatGPT is actually working that you could understand your cat. I don't know if I want to understand him. Like, I get him, but besides him, like, if he was unhealthy, then yes, I would want to understand him. Other than that, I don't want to hear his bitching.
No, you're right. Well, they're more intuitive than us. If anything, language has kind of devolved us in that we're not so connected to our actual feelings and thoughts like animals are. You know, we can disguise things with language, whereas animals, I feel like, are they just tell you in the moment how they feel, and I think that's a great talent. We could learn.
We can
how to speak there.
Absolutely learn from them. Calvin Harris, congratulations on everything that's been going on for you. Thank you so much for your time with us on America's Dance 30.
Thanks so much for having me, Brian. Really appreciate it.
Now, can I call you Adam, or is it still Calvin?
It's Adam. Off air.
Off air.